All right, hello wine drinking people. Today is Saturday, the 17th of September. A whole lot of drinking going on here at the store this week, and we got a lot of catching up to get done. But hey, next week we've only got 2 events, so we should be able to catch up on all this drinking that's been going on and catch you guys up on what the good stuff was over the last few weeks at our events. And this is actually what I drank yesterday, believe it or not. You know, this segment has become what I drank over the last week, but I was so excited about this event. I said we are going to cover this immediately. And the vintage Burgundy tasting here at the store last night, one of my favorite events that we do. You know, these little events that we only got 10 people to show up to, and hey, I'm happy. We only had 8 wines, and you could just feel the camaraderie in the room by the end of the night. The extra bottles started popping open. As one taster mentioned, he had never had Mussini before, and everybody raised their hand and said, we'll pitch in and buy a bottle of Mussini so we can all try it tonight. And the 99 George Comte de Vogue came out. And, well, we'll cover everything as we had it here. You know, we had a beautiful meal. Tony's Epoisse grits with the mushrooms were just fabulous with the wines. Epoisse cheese that comes from Burgundy. And I always say, you know, when you're pairing food with wine, you want to have food that comes from that area where the wine's produced. So Epoisse, to me, is a must on the table for any Burgundy tasting. And really helped to bring out the fruit in the older wines, that mushroom and Epoisse grits that was served with the tuna with a little cherry reduction, which was fabulous with the younger wines. It still had some fruit. And the theme tonight was vintage Burgundy, so 10 years or older. The 2 wines we started with from the 2000 vintage, 2000 being a lighter vintage for reds. But, you know, for great red wines that need time, you know, these are the kind of vintages you want to drink young. The Domaine de Romanée-Conti Grand Echezot. Hey, I always say drink the good stuff first. Why not start out with the money wine? And this wine had just incredible nose. From the first moment you open this up, it just stood out on the table. And this exotic spice, this cola, this mint, just a cornucopia of different spices and herbs on the nose here. And on the palate, this wine, that lovely spice showing through on the finish. Lovely velvety tannins and quite a bit of substance here. This wine's still big, could go another 10 or 20 years. The Volnay Santino, which is Côte de Beaune red, you know, not quite as perfumed on the nose, very different from the DRC. And on the palate, though, this lovely sweet cherry liqueur-like fruits and these rose petal and dried floral notes, really elegant and really rich. This wine continued to open up and just blossom as the night went on. It was really hard for me to pick a favorite between these two, but the DRC kind of won out in the end. The Domaine Mom Gevrey Chambertin Premier Cru, 1996, a great vintage for both red and white, and a lot of people don't realize that the conditions can be very different for red and white, and it's rare that you have a vintage that is great for both red and white in Burgundy. It happens 2 or 3 times a decade maybe, and 96 and 90, 2 of the great vintages for red and white in the 90s, and the 96 still kind of backward. Kind of weird nose with this, a little banana kind of note, tropical note, black cherry, dark spices, along with a bit of animal here. I'll never forget the visit to Bertrand Mom, Domaine Mom, with my visit to Burgundy with Kermit Lynch. And, man, there was the dog who played so many landmines in the front courtyard of this place, man. It was a little animal-y there. Maybe that's the, you know, the memory that I have of Mom. So whenever I have his wines, you get that little strong animal note. But this wine's still a baby, quite young, lots of everything, but really needs more time. These 96s, better wines, still young. As are the 90s, the Fable Nuit Saint George, Claude de Mouche, the Nuit Saint George, Les Saint George Premier Cru, a little monster, man. Lovely exotic spice here with a muted kind of cherry fruit on the nose. Needs quite a bit of time to open up, but by the end of the night, a little more revealing. This vintage still massive and structured at age 20. Wow, the Pierre Ponel Beaune Premier Cru Clos de Mouches. This wine had this lovely 83 vintage, so you really notice the primary fruit mostly gone here, but some lovely mushroom, earthy nuance to the nose, a light kind of strawberry fruit there with oriental spice as well. A lovely, smooth, silky tannin texture to this wine. One of the things I love about Old Burgundy is the texture, like velvet on your tongue, and really nice note of spice and fresh acidity here. This wine still doing very well. Excellent bottle of Burgundy. And the Joseph Drune Von Romanet Les Souchaux, one of the great premier crus of Von Romanet, right next to Les Romanets, just a stone's throw away from Romanée-Conti. And this wine really showing a lovely amount of red berry fruit, strawberry, red cherry, with truffle, kind of exotic spices, dried flower notes, really complex. Lovely silky texture on the palate there. Lovely earthy nuance. Most excellent. Just a shade beneath the Romanée-Conti for me, the Grand Echezot. The Meunier Gauchon X Echezot. This is, even though it's a Grand Cru from a great vintage 79, a little bit lighter wine. A nice bit of earth here on the nose. Hints of barnyard. A slight briny character also to this red cherry fruit there, but very soft and elegantly fashioned on the palate. A nice hand of spice. But one of the lighter wines, again, still, drinking really nice, though. An excellent bottle of Echezot from Meunier Gauchon. And then the 78 Joseph Drouin Charme Chambertin, Grand Cru, and this was one of the wines of the night. Started to lose a little bit on the nose after a bit, but kind of came back, actually. A nice bit of florist floor, that Sir Bois character, truffle, dried tobacco spice, and still some nice raspberry fruit there and red cherry. The nose, like I said, faded, but then kind of came back, and really nice with that Epoisse grits and the mushroom. This wine just really sang after that course came out. A little caramel note and some exotic spice shown through the finish. A beautiful example of mature Burgundy Grand Cru style. Most excellent. One of the wines of the night for me. And hey, like I said, man, we had a lot of love going on in the room, so people didn't want to stop the party. We had the Moussigny from Georges Comte de Vogüé, which was the wine of the night. Anytime I can drink Georges Comte de Vogüé Moussigny, 99, a classic vintage, huge, still a ton of structure. This wine needs a lot of time, but for scientific purposes, we'll open a bottle up. And for people that never had Moussigny as well, I think everyone appreciated that. And then the Calera Jensen came out, and then the Fumanelli Amarone, the Beltaliana, the La Spinetta Moscato di Oro. Just a fantastic evening. You guys, you see the vintage tastings we have on the schedule here. Truly is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And hey, for all you people that missed it, we still have some vintage Burgundy left. I'm including all the vintage Burgundy we have got in the store on this offer. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, for the Wine Watch, signing off saying, remember, always drink the good stuff first.